So Cenk Uygur and Dave Rubin got into a shouting match on Piers Morgan Uncensored. While everyone was focused on the spectacle, I think most people didn't realize or overlooked what really happened here. And what really happened was Cenk Uygur accidentally admitted that his YouTube channel, this entire platform that he created for himself and the Young Turks, well, maybe, just maybe, it actually radicalizes its viewers. Yep, take a look.
It seems to me that everyone agrees that Donald Trump is not Hitler and his supporters are not Nazis. So with that in mind, I'd like to read some other headlines. These are video titles from Jenks' channel. And if in the spirit of reconciliation, maybe he wants to delete these things. Trump cuts anti-Nazi program. Trump spreading Nazi propaganda. Nazis encouraged by Trump's Charlottesville response. Trump defends Nazis, very fine people. That is the biggest political hoax ever. Trump retweets a neo-Nazi again. Trump disappoints neo-Nazi supporters. So these things don't come out of nowhere. I only blame one person at the end of the day for these murders, which is the crazy person who does the murders. But pretending that what is wildly asymmetrical, I think I have laid that out with evidence here, pretending that it's symmetrical is deeply, deeply dangerous. Piers, you know this because we've discussed it on my show. Even on your show, you have found it way more difficult to find rational, decent people on the left who will explain themselves thoughtfully and calmly and everything else, while the panoply of people you get on the right who shouldn't even be on the right, I would say certainly someone like me, I don't know exactly where Batya considers herself, but people with a variance of political opinions that now broadly are part of the MAGA thing is because of what I just read you, the endless hysteria of the left that has ginned up people to do crazy things. It's not to say you can't say the worst things. You want to say the worst things? Donald Trump's a Nazi. It's so tough to say. You want to say that? Go ahead and say it. It falls on the person who pulls the trigger. But if we're all sitting here saying, yeah, it's not true that Donald Trump's a Nazi and it's not true that his supporters are Nazis and he's not Hitler and all of those things, well, then before you get to reconciliation, a little bit of a mea culpa by some of us might be valuable.
Cenk?
Yeah, I mean, look at this. This is disgusting. So this guy pretending to do conciliation, and I was going to be conciliatory towards Dave if I spoke first, but apparently that's not what he's doing at all. So what he's trying to do is get people angry in a misleading way against me. Are you trying to get people to be violent?
Are those the titles of your videos?
This is disgusting.
No.
So no. Let me explain. Let me explain.
Those are your titles.
No,
buddy.
let me explain. You're asking me a question, so let me explain while you're trying to get people to do violence against me. You're disgusting. So those are 80% of those titles. I've never called Trump a Nazi, and those titles were about neo-Nazi reactions. So what do you want us to do? Not tell you what's actually happening?
And so look, did Donald Trump side with neo-Nazis?
Yes, he did say that.
So in Charlottesville.
So as we
how about you handle this one instead of giving it to me? Piers,
can I just talk? So this monster is trying to egg on violence.
What did Donald Trump say after very fine people?
And he won't even let me talk.
I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis or the white supremacists who should be condemned completely. It's the biggest debunked conspiracy theory of all time. You're still pushing that now? You're still pushing the very fine people hoax now? I'm shocked even for you.
Dave, shut up and let me answer your stupid question. So on that day, which now we're going back to that for no reason other than you're trying to get people angry at me for misleading things.
I'm reading your titles. You should be angry at your titler.
He did. Shut up and let me answer. So did he say there are very fine people on both sides? He did. So that's a fact. Now, who was he referring to? As we've explained on the Young Turks, he might have been referring to the people who were in favor of the Confederacy and came out there to support Confederate generals. I didn't find that to be any better. Those people were in favor of slavery. Those people lynched black people. So I'm not going to ever cheerlead for them, and I'm not ever going to shut up
in the very next sentence, did he say, I'm not talking about the white supremacists or the neo-Nazis who should be condemned totally?
And you are...
So in this clip, Cenk Uygur, and it actually gets worse as this entire segment goes on, but he accuses Dave Rubin of trying to incite violence against him. But what is the basis for that? Dave Rubin just reading Cenk Uygur's own YouTube titles out loud to him, just using his own words against him? You see, Dave Rubin didn't make any new arguments here. He wasn't critiquing any of Jenks' ideas. He wasn't saying anything inflammatory. He literally was just quoting, hey, this is on your YouTube channel. This is what you said in your videos. This is how you titled your videos. If Jenks still stands by those titles, then why is he so offended for Dave Rubin for just, saying them out loud? If they don't cause any danger, if they are not inflammatory, if these titles, what is Jenks so afraid of? Is he realizing maybe that, hey, maybe his YouTube channel is inflammatory, maybe his content and the way he puts it out there just radicalizes people? Otherwise, what is he afraid of? Why is he claiming that Dave Rubin is putting him in danger? If you watch that clip again, just using his own YouTube titles against him, either they're dangerous or they're not, no matter who's talking about the titles. The craziest part is when Dave Rubin called him out on the titles about President Trump and the Nazi situation, and Jenks said, well, no, 80% of those titles, I wasn't literally calling Trump a Nazi. I was just saying, I was talking about the neo-Nazi reaction to him and what that community is saying about President Trump. Well, no, Jenks, now it's my turn to call you out. When you have a video titled, why is Trump using Nazi propaganda in his speeches? Okay, sure. On a technical level, you are not calling President Trump a Nazi. Okay, I'll give you that. You are technically right. But what you are doing is very intentional. You are drawing that connection. You're leading the viewer to the well, and you're basically saying, hey, lick up my Kool-Aid here. You indulge loaded sensational shorthand when you're attacking your political opponents, but when you yourself are the target, you demand hyper specificity. Talk about hypocrisy right there. And then when you say just broad statements like, oh, President Trump defends Nazis, again, sure, you're not technically calling him a Nazi, but that right there is not news. That is an editorial judgment that you are making, and you're trying to pass it off as news. So yeah, that's not flying here. Of course, this all matters because as the left and the media and, yes, content creators like the Young Turks call President Trump Hitler and authoritarian, or, okay, in this case, maybe they didn't call him that, but they definitely are leading their viewers to the well and encouraging them to lick up the Kool-Aid, right? When you do that, you are creating an atmosphere that allows for the type of political violence that we saw this past week. Now, am I accusing Cenk Uygur of being personally responsible? No, of course, the responsibility comes to the person who committed the act of violence, right? It's always the person who pulls the trigger, does whatever awful, heinous thing. But again, my point here is that if Cenk Uygur is afraid of his own YouTube titles creating violence against him, then he knows that his rhetoric, he knows that his tone and his approach to things is definitely contributing to the poison in our cultural discourse. Now, it's not just what he's saying, but it's also the atmosphere that this helps create, because this allows Democrat leaders and Democrat politicians to feel comfortable calling President Trump an authoritarian dictator. And in fact, even after Charlie Kirk was shot, even after the bullets were discovered to have, hey, catch this fascist on them, Dan Goldman, a representative from New York, Democrat, of course, went on MSNBC and continued to call President Trump a fascist dictator.
Right now, the question is, are Republican members of Congress going not only to roll over to Donald Trump's will, but to roll over our democracy and allow him to take over this country as a fascist dictator?
Yeah, absolutely disgusting. And it just shows that while many people have seen the light, many on the left are doubling down on this dangerous, hateful, and divisive rhetoric. Well, before I show this next clip where Dave Rubin and Cenk Uygur really get into it, I want to show a clip from one of Jenks' videos where he makes fun of Charlie Kirk, compares him to Charlie Brown, and basically says that Charlie Kirk wants to become a martyr. Yeah, not my words. This is one of Jenks' videos.
It allows for easy martyrdom for these guys, and they don't deserve it. But I do also want to point out, as they're in the middle of crying now, although Charlie was smiling ear to ear throughout the entire video, thinking, yes, I'm now the victim, and I'll get to claim that my rights have been abridged.
So he literally uses the word martyrdom and then makes fun of Charlie wanting to be the victim. Keep all of that in mind as we go through this next clip.
Well, Piers, it's not even that it's about his actual opinions. It's about the opinions that many thought leaders on the left purport that he has, which are complete lies. So look, I am in somewhat of a reconciliatory mode here. So I'd like to ask Cenk, I have 10 headlines here he has put up about Charlie Kirk. They are on his channel right now, and let's see if Cenk believes that these are true. Charlie Kirk says prominent black women took white people's spots. Charlie Kirk boasts about his all-white basketball team. Charlie Kirk gives piggish advice to high school girls. Ex-employee exposes Charlie Kirk's grift. Charlie Kirk embarrasses himself. Charlie Kirk's brain melts explaining anti-vax conspiracy. Charlie Kirk rants about women in their 30s. Charlie Kirk has literally no clue how the real world works. Charlie Kirk gets triggered, declines appearance over pronouns. Charlie Kirk doubles down on women-hating backlash. I am telling you, Piers, Charlie Kirk was one of the best human beings I ever met. He did not have a bone of racism, misogyny, or anything else in his body. But liars lie, and they gin up otherwise good people. From the little bit we know about this shooter, he had a stable household, he was going to college, he was fine. We'll find out where he got radicalized. But please, please, let's not pretend we don't know where this stuff is coming from. And please, let's not pretend that this thing is going both ways, because it is absolutely not. I also have well, you know what, Cenk, I'll ask you a question directly, actually. Do you think Charlie wanted to be martyred? Do you think Charlie wanted to be martyred? Do you think Charlie wanted to be killed? Yes or no?
Of course not. What kind of asinine question is that?
You don't? Because that's pretty interesting. Because here's a video of you, Cenk, talking when Charlie was at a breakfast.
For these guys, and they don't deserve it. But I do also want to point out, as they're in the middle of crying now, although Charlie was smiling ear to ear throughout the entire video, thinking, yes, I'm now the victim, and I'll get to claim that my rights have been abridged.
Did you catch the beginning of that, Cenk? Listen, we'll do it again.
No, I didn't, and that's totally out of. No, we're not going to do it again. Totally out of context. I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
No. Listen, brother.
Are you trying to get harm
for
on
1
me?
second.
Is that what you're trying to do,
clown.
you loser? Jesus Christ.
No. I'm trying to
do
expose
conciliation,
exactly
except
what
this
people
guy.
like you
Look at the
have
last two
done.
things of your last two guests said.
Piers.
Jesus,
no,
man.
what they
You
said
guys are
was, yes,
unbearable.
we should have reconciliation, but it is not without any contrition, right? It's not without a mea culpa. Charlie was accosted by Antifa at a breakfast in Philadelphia, and the video that I just played is you with a cartoon of him as Charlie Brown saying that he would love to be martyred so he could be the victim. Well, I guarantee you, his wife, who now doesn't have a husband, and his kids who don't have fathers, did not want him to be martyred.
What you just played isn't what I...
It's exactly what you said, brother. It's exactly what
it was.
Let's do it again.
No, it isn't.
We just
heard it. We just heard it.
It's not?
All right, so...
It's not?
No,
let's do it again.
Cut this crap out.
Come on,
no,
we'll do it again.
Piers, can we talk about reality? This is something he's going back to like 10 years.
Well, I think Cenk should be allowed to respond.
What I said there.
And they don't deserve it.
It allows for easy martyrdom for these guys, and they don't deserve it. That was when Antifa was going after him at a breakfast in Philadelphia.
Okay, so let's let Cenk respond to that.
No, that was about words, you moron. Okay, Jesus Christ, man. All right, so now let's get to reality, okay? Shut up.
So Cenk wants to claim that he's being taken out of context when his entire YouTube channel is built on taking clips out of context and spinning them in the most sensational ways possible. Talk about hypocrisy. And again, over and over and over in this clip, we saw him saying, are you trying to get violence against me? Are you trying to put me in danger? He's playing your own words against you. Like, if you have nothing to fear with your own words, if you have nothing to fear with your YouTube titles, then why are you freaking out here? I think he's realizing that old proverb, I believe it's biblical, live by the sword, die by the sword. Like, I think he's starting to put two and two together, whether or not he realizes it. And I want to be very clear again, I'm not saying that Cenk Uygur is responsible for Charlie Kirk's assassination. I'm not saying he and the Young Turks are responsible for political violence. No, that would be nonsense. That would be ridiculous. At the end of the day, the blame can only be placed on the person who commits the crime, the person who pulls the trigger or does whatever awful thing. But there is a culture of toxicity. There is misinformation. There is a culture that glorifies violence. There is a culture that misrepresents political opponents. And at the end of the day, if you are going to put yourself out there, you have to understand the influence that you have, the influence and the impact that your words have on the national discourse. And apparently, Cenk Uygur is in complete denial about it, or he is realizing that hey, maybe he's contributed some poison to the well and he's too ashamed to admit it. But like I said, this is an accidental admission because he's claiming that Dave Rubin is inciting violence against him. How? Just by using your own words against you? No, that's not how it works. And like it says in the Bible, you can tell the health and the goodness of a tree based on the fruit that it gives off. Apparently, Cenk Uygur is afraid of his fruit or afraid of his viewers, whereas Charlie Kirk's fruit, well, we're just now beginning to see the fruition of it all. But before I get into that, I would like to acknowledge Shannon Miller, Bart Denny, Bob Paul, SMDB 6 Foot, USMC Carr, and Dave Dunville as the members of today's Governor's Club. These are people who give tips and super thanks to the channel. I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad that you enjoy. Well, over on CNN, they were discussing the statement that Erica Kirk gave out, Charlie Kirk's widow, and then Scott Jennings started talking about the impact, the fruition that Charlie Kirk's life is having in our culture. And the irony here is the left, this assassin, thought that they shut up Charlie Kirk, that they were putting an end or slowing down the movement. But as a result, thousands of Charlie Kirks are rising up, not just in America, but around the world, just like a tree. I think there's a lot of good fruit coming here.
I thought she was incredibly brave and courageous and poised in her remarks tonight. And as a father of four, I can't even begin to imagine what it would be like to have to tell them that a parent, a spouse, you know, is not coming home. To hear her describe that is gutting. So anyway, I was amazed at what she was able to do tonight and the way she communicated with the American people, the way she communicated with the Turning Point people and the family and the organization they've built. I mean, it's pretty obvious this thing is going to roll on, and they're going to continue to do their tours. They're going to continue their organization. They show up on campuses this fall. If you think you saw large crowds at Turning Point events before, just wait, because I think what's happened here is they have unleashed thousands of Charlie Kirks, people who want to show up, speak their values, engage in civil discourse, and be engaged in American politics. And so I'm glad they're going to continue. They've been a huge force in conservative politics. They helped President Trump win. The external stuff that people see is interesting, and the data stuff they do behind the scene is then the technical, the mechanical stuff is also a juggernaut. So it's really an important organization, and I have no doubt it's going to continue, and we'll see what form it takes, but they're not going anywhere.
Talk about a difference in impact, a difference in legacy, just at night and day here. The fact that Charlie Kirk's impact and legacy is inspiring people to become involved, to take action, to make the country a better country, to help fulfill the Founding Fathers' vision and dream for a more perfect union. Whereas Cenk Uygur, well, apparently he's afraid of his own words and scared of his own YouTube titles. But as always, all of that is just my analysis, just my commentary, and I would love to hear from you. So what do you think about my take that that was an accidental admission that he's played a role in poisoning the discourse in this country? Am I reading too much into that? Am I trying to like play psychotherapist too much? Or do you think that that's a reasonable take? And was there something else that you caught? Another insight that I missed and you picked up on? Let me know down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.